MattBryden is a strategic advisor for Sahan Research, where he focuses on the Horn of Africa, and he's joining us by Skype from Nairobi. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. I want to ask you about these various statements we're hearing out of Ethiopia, including the Prime Minister's statement. What is your assessment of this? One gets the impression that the advance made by the TPLF forces seems to have caught people by surprise.
Oh, they have indeed. I think the Tigrayan forces' recent offensive was a stunning military move, and has taken everybody by surprise, and clearly has pushed the Ethiopian government, Eritrean government, to start withdrawing their forces. So rather than a ceasefire, I think I'd characterize what's happening now as a withdrawal. And I'm not sure how much that's going to change the situation, because in addition to the fighting that's been going on in Tigray, what we've actually seen for much of the past months as this conflict developed was an embargo, basically cutting off Tigray from the rest of the world. And we've seen the humanitarian consequences have been catastrophic. Now, by withdrawing its forces, the government hasn't necessarily lifted this de facto embargo. And as your correspondent said, we're going to have to wait and see whether now aid workers can return, communications resume, and humanitarian assistance is allowed into Tigray region.
If that assistance isn't allowed in, what are the possible consequences of that?
Well, it's if they're not allowed in, as we've heard, Tigray's population is estimated at 6 million, of which 5 million are said to be in dire need of assistance. There are already reports of starvation in remote rural areas of Tigray, where the Eritrean and Ethiopian forces have been accused of destroying livelihoods, ruining crops, killing livestock, and even destroying the seeds that would have been used to plant new crops this year. So I think we would expect tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of people to die. It's for that reason that what we're now seeing is the Tigray Defence Forces rapidly moving to the northwest of Tigray. They took the towns of Shire and Shiraro in the last 24 hours or so, and they are likely to make, I think, this offensive, try to carry it on as far as the Sudanese border, so that if the government, the Ethiopian government, doesn't allow assistance in, a humanitarian corridor might be established via Sudan.
Eritrean forces have obviously played a big role in Ethiopia's efforts to try to contain the TPLF and push them back. The claim is that Eritrean forces are now leaving the country. Ethiopia, as we were talking about earlier, seems to have been caught on the hop by this. The TPLF seems to be pushing forward. How do you think this is going to play out over the coming weeks?
Well, I think there are two main considerations here. One is that even if the Eritreans withdraw, the boundary between Ethiopia and Eritrea was long contested, and it was Ethiopia's failure to withdraw forces from territory awarded to Eritrea that was a sort of thorn in the side of the Eritreans. Now, if the Eritreans withdraw from Tigray, but they try to remain in those territories that had previously been under Ethiopian control, the Tigrayans are likely to engage them militarily and retake that land back for Tigray. The other consideration is that President Isaias Afwerki is considered by the TDF and the TPLF to be their prime adversary. I think even more of a threat than the Ethiopian government. So I would not be surprised if we see Tigray, the TDF, now start to push the Eritreans onto the defensive, or try to at least, and work towards fomenting dissent and instability in Eritrea with a view to ousting Isaias Afwerki.
We appreciate you giving us the benefit of your expertise. And MattBryden, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.